Hey everybody, my name's David and I work in property. And before any of you tell me to go and eat a turd, I want to make it clear that I'm actually a property academic and I work in bond. Okay? So, I work at bond. So, I don't have 10 investment properties. I don't have a raging coke habit, sadly. But I do have a fine collection of these jackets with elbow patches on them that academics seem to love wearing. Everybody asks me about that. What's your job? I work at bond, I'm an academic. Have you got one of those jackets with the elbow patches? No. Actually, I do. Yeah. In fact, I've got a few. So I'm actually a valuer and I'm also an urban planner. And that means that I like to wear check shirts and chinos and RMs. And I like to lecture people and tell them that they need to live in high density apartment buildings and walk everywhere. While I live on acreage and I drive a big ass Range Rover. Actually, no, I don't. I guess what I really want to make clear is that, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a real estate agent, although once you say I work in property, people automatically think that you're a real estate agent, okay? And look, they're not so bad, are they? This guy? Well, I don't know. Some of them do give you the ick, don't they? Okay, so academics have been in the news a little bit lately, haven't they? So, not for all the right reasons. And I don't really know what to tell you these days what I am, because maybe saying that you're a real estate agent is better than an academic right now. But really, I'm just a punter, just another punter like you guys. I'm just trying to live my best life, trying to change the world one day at a time. And what's wrong with that? You've got to have goals, right? Well, apparently what's wrong with that is cost of living. Cost of living tells me that there's everything wrong with having goals in life. So, let me tell you, I feel real good about myself when I drive up to meet my students at field trips and I'm the one with the shittest car. So, I'm researching urban renewal, okay? Urban renewal is where you take tired, old urban areas and you spruce them up, you modernise them, you rebuild them, you turn them into a modern place that's a better fit for modern needs and the future needs. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing this to understand how do we do it the best possible way. And if I can understand that, I can apply it to other areas so that urban renewal projects are more successful than they have been. And the result of that is we have better cities and we have better populations and happier people, okay? Here's the twist. To learn how to do urban renewal better, I'm going to do a case study of Southport. Do we have any people here from Southport? All right, we got a few.
I wish.
Okay. Anybody been to the centre of Southport lately? A little bit of a visit? Oh, quiet. A few people. How was it? How was your experience to the centre of Southport?
Frightening.
Frightening.
Trashy.
Trashy.
Got chased.
Oh. All right, so not real good. Not real good at all, but what's not to like about Southport? It's got the Broadwater Parklands, it's got the government buildings, well, Centrelink, and it's got the busiest place in town, the Magistrates Court. Ooh. Sounds like that was a little bit of a nervous laugh over there, wasn't it? Sounds like a few people here have seen the inside of the Southport Magistrates Court, maybe for all the wrong reasons, am I right? Yes, you went there, and I don't think that was no high school legal studies trip, was it? So, I'm trying to learn about how to do urban renewal better so that I can learn how to apply that to Southport and make Southport even better. Can you imagine a world where we're proud of Southport for its awesomeness? I know I'm going out on a limb here, but you've got to have dreams. You've got to have dreams. And, if we have those dreams, and if we can imagine that Southport is going to be awesome, well, we won't need to be so sad about Southport anymore. You know, we can have a before and after picture of Southport, just like this one. Anybody know this one? What is it? South Bank. Imagine if we could change Southport like they changed South Bank. And if we had that level of success, we wouldn't need to feel that cringy need to impress people from bigger cities anymore. I mean, why do we even do that, right? Do we need to impress this guy? Where's he from? Sydney, yeah. Come on, say it. But where does he tell people he's from? Northern Beaches? Anybody from the Northern Beaches here? Oh, I wouldn't know enough either. You know, when you ask people where you're from, and they say, Northern Beaches, mate, Northern Beaches. And you go, you're from Sydney. No, they don't like that. What about this guy? What about this guy? Do we need to impress him? No, I don't think so. But really, people come to the Gold Coast to enjoy the same things that we enjoy. You know, like, I don't know, hooking up with drunk bogans on holidays, getting a little bit of the old silicon enhancement, and maybe trying to land a spot on maths. We seem to have a lot of that. Bonus points if you can do it all in the same week. They'll make a public statue of you if you get that. So, a lot of people that move here, or even visit here, they like it so much they want to stay here. And, they kind of grow on us. And they never leave. They're here for life, like herpes. And like herpes, well, I guess you get it from having too much fun, don't you? Because that's how we roll. So, I guess, just like our good friend Warwick Capper here, Southport was really big in the 80s. In fact, it was big before then too, but it really, really hit its peak in the 80s. And then in the 90s, well, it kind of just died. I mean, look at it. It just had the life strangled out of it. And now, this leads me to the tough question. The research question, if you want to get all academic about it. Remember this guy? What's his name? What's he famous for saying? Oh, why is it so? All right, it's kind of infectious. Let's all say it together. Why is it so? Let's say it one more time for Southport. Why is it so shit? Okay. You know what it really needs? It needs an urban renewal program. Like a super makeover. Doesn't it? Right? So, well, this may come as a little bit of a surprise to all those people that just shouted out, why is it so shit? Southport has had an urban renewal program in place now for 10 years. Did you know that? Seems absurd, doesn't it? 10 years. It's called the Southport Priority Development Area. The PDA. And it looks a little bit like this. So, the aim of the PDA is to turn this area here into the CBD of the city, the central business district of the city. You know, like Queen Street in Brisbane, and I don't know, Collins Street in Melbourne, and I don't know, whatever it is in Perth. Reinhardt Boulevard. Does that sound about right? So what it does is it streamlines all of the planning and development process. Okay? All that stuff that developers call red tape. It streamlines it, gets it all out of the way, so that developers can come in and build whatever they want. Faster. What could possibly go wrong? So, okay. What they really want to do is take this area, particularly the one in the middle, and build lots and lots of commercial office towers and retail. Okay? Lots of big tall office buildings and retail shops and mixed use and everything like that, because that's what CBDs have. Okay? What's the thinking behind that? So if you do that, it's a little bit like Field of Dreams. If you do that, a whole lot of new businesses will come, and smart people will come with them, and they will do great things, innovations and all those cool terms that people like to say these days, and it will pump up the economy, and the ripple effects will flow out across the city. Everybody wins, right? So after 10 years of all of this, what have we got to show for our efforts? Okay. We've got a PDA that says, go and build office buildings and retail shops. What have we got? One building. We got one building with one level of offices and retail. And in fact, they started building that before the PDA started. And look, they claimed it anyway. All right. What else? We've got a whole bunch of buildings that have been demolished, right? And they never did anything with them. They just sit there with great big craters in the ground. This one here is called the Michael Hutchins site, right? Michael Hutchins used to own it, probably about 10 owners ago, but somehow he seems to have got the naming rights. I guess it's sort of kind of a little bit of a metaphor for Southport, really, because, well, Southport and Michael were pretty big in the 80s, and then along came the 90s, and yeah, Michael's gone a little bit quiet. Okay, there's more businesses leaving Southport than there are coming to Southport. And everybody's going to Robina. Robina's now got more commercial space than Southport, right? And that's, you know, like there's a bit of a turf war going on there. Who gets to call themselves the heart of the city, the CBD? It seems kind of absurd, but hey, that's the space that we're playing. A lot of people say that Southport is unsafe, right? You've all said it was shit, it was terrifying. You know, I mean, are you guys just making that stuff up? Right? Come on, sooks. Well, I had to find that out for myself, so I went down to the Queensland Police and I raided their database, and this is what I got. These two graphs on the side, you can't see this one, but trust me, it's not real good. This one at the top says that Southport has got the highest crime rate in the whole of the city. And the one here says that Southport has got the highest rate of violent crime in the whole of the city. You know, we just won a bunch of gold medals at the Olympics, and that's not the type of medal that I think you'd want to be winning. Is this something that's just happened overnight? No. Over here, is a plot of where we go back 20 years. 20 years, this has been the crime rate. And as you can see, in the last 10 years, it's just started to go up, right? And it's actually going up pretty steeply. So, are people's fears really founded? Well, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Okay? It's also got the highest number of homeless people in the city as well. And there's daylight between Southport and whatever comes next, which I think is its next door neighbour, Labrador. Okay? So, is this really meaningful? Like, who cares? There's a bunch of crims running around and some homeless people. Does that really matter? Well, it turns out it does. And I consulted the patron saint of urban planners here, Jane Jacobs. Jane Jacobs said, if a place lacks safety, it will lack people. And if it lacks people, it will lack vibrancy. Now, okay, planners love using the word vibrancy. Vibrant, vibrancy. Now that I've put it in your brain, right, you are now going to see this thing pop up all over the place and you're going to get as irritated as I am when I hear it. It's like grinding your teeth. But I think Jane Jacobs might just have planted it there because everybody loves Jane Jacobs. Okay. It's generally perceived as a failure. Okay, and the newspapers, the media have been giving it an absolute smashing. They give it these headlines like this one, and they're not wrong. And, you know, my personal favourite, okay. Everybody loves that one. It's really been quite the disappointment. And, you know, if it was a kid, you'd take it aside and you would give it a good talking to. A talking to like only a tennis dad can give a talking to a 10-year-old kid. Right? Southport, you are shit! Why are you so shit? Why are you such a loser? We've spent money on you. You've got the best schools. You've got the Maserati dealership. What are we supposed to do with you? You're the red-headed stepchild of the city. Is that harsh? No. No. Some kids are just shit, All right. What we know is urban renewal actually takes a long time. South Bank, the jewel of Brisbane's crown, it's been going for 35 years as an urban renewal project, and it is continuing. It's still got a long way to go. Okay? So, you know, maybe we're just a little bit too soon. Maybe what we're really doing is placing too much expectations on the shoulders of a 10-year-old. And Southport is 10. Right? You are terrible people. Okay, let's just put our tennis dad's hat on for a minute and just imagine that we're in that situation where we're trying to give this kid, this errant kid, a good talking to. All right, let's pick up this little bastard here. All right. This little snaggletooth guy who looks like he got his hair cut at Lego. What's he ever done for anybody? Well, turns out he's saved the free world twice. What about this one here? Lazy ass, sitting around reading Peter Rabbit all day. What the hell's going to become of this one? Well, quite a lot, turns out. And what about this little wombat here? Right? He's got the sad puppy dog eyes. He's got the 1,000-yard stare like he knows what life is going to throw at him. Hey? A bit of this. And he knows his place in it, doesn't he? All right. How am I going to do this? Hey? How am I going to do this? All right. I'm going to go and read everything I can that's worth reading about urban renewal. And that's going to make me pretty sharp. And after that, I'm going to go and talk to a bunch of people who are really smart in urban renewal and the Southport experience, right? We call that process interviews with key informed stakeholders, right? Then I'm going to look at some numbers. I'm actually going to look at some planning and development numbers to see if Southport with its big bad PDA urban renewal scheme is any bigger or better than the numbers from other commercial areas around the city, just to see if it actually makes a difference. Then I'm going to analyse property development feasibility studies that developers have done in Southport when they run the ruler over a development site. And through doing that, I'll understand where are the key stoppages, where are all the problems. Okay, what do we know so far? Urban renewal, particularly in Southport, is not a level playing field, okay? The key difference between other urban renewal projects in Southport is that typically they have one landowner. They have one bit of land, or maybe a little bit, and it's one landowner. In Southport, look at this. Look at this. You've got hundreds and hundreds of different pieces of land, all owned by hundreds and hundreds of different landowners. We are herding a population of cats. What else? Nobody's building. Nobody's building in the Southport PDA. Why is that? Well, it turns out that despite council's best efforts to incentivise developers, it's kind of backfired. It's created this artificial market where development projects aren't feasible. They're not stacking up. The land prices are too high. For reasons I won't bore you with, the landowners now believe that their property values are worth this much, okay? And to make a project stack up and be viable, they need to be worth this much, okay? And they're not budging. In a normal market, they would drop the price to meet the market, but they're not budging. That's weird. More to come. Okay. Developers are saying, we can't fill buildings, right? Businesses say they don't want to come here because the place is, shit. Businesses say that we will come here, right? But nobody's building the nice buildings that we want. We need buildings of a certain type, and everything that you've got is, shit. So the other problem is you've got a viable alternative in Robina. So while everybody else is mucking around and chucking dirt at each other in Southport, businesses are just going to Robina, right? And there's lots of buildings being built, and like I said, they've now overtaken Southport in the commercial property stakes. All right, so we're told that there's some easy solutions out there, okay? The Gold Coast is full of armchair critics, and here's a few of them. Here's number one. Get the whole of the Gold Coast City Council and move them to Southport, okay? Not really happening. Sunshine Coast did it, right? Sunshine Coast went and resumed a golf course in the middle of town, and then they built a building and moved the whole council there, right? Pretty easy, right? Well, guess what? One landowner. Who was the landowner? The council. Move all the homeless people in the Crims out of the city. Pretty easy. I guess they would have done it if they knew how to do it already. How about get rid of all the trams, make more roads and more car parks? Well, we did that in the 50s and 60s, and look how that turned out. Or maybe you just demolish Australia Fair. You demolish Australia Fair and you start all over again. Hey, I can see some nodding. Now, apparently they spent 50 million on fixing that up. I'm not quite sure where it went, but apparently they did. What we have worked out, though, is it's going to take a whole lot more than just lipstick to fix this pig up to make real change. Okay. Let's try and wrap this up. To understand success, you have to understand failure. And the lessons that we learn are going to make our understanding of how to do urban renewal a whole lot better. I mean, look, Southport's not really a loser. We've given it a good kicking today, haven't we? Right? And look, it actually stacks up pretty well against other cities. Like, look at this, the Broadwater, a pristine waterway right next to a city centre. Who's going to be able to compete with that? Not Paris. This shit stream, look at that. No, not going there. What about San Francisco? Right? It's got a bunch of trams that go around and make people happy. Pretty hard to compete with that, isn't it? Well, we do our best. We do okay. All right, I cheated there, didn't I? That's Surfers Paradise. Southport has trams too, all right? And they're very safe. They're very safe. Right, why is this important? It's important because cities are struggling everywhere. They are struggling with the needs of their populations, okay? The Gold Coast has always struggled because it's a high growth area. And then COVID came along and it just poured petrol all over that dumpster fire, didn't it? And now the place feels like it's full, right? So, well, we've now got a housing affordability crisis that's so bad that if any of you want to now get into the housing ladder, or the house market, you're going to have to start being real nice to your grandma. Because if you're not nice to your grandma, you might just end up homeless. All right. Southport's got a lot of potential. We need to work out how to tap that. Okay? Urban renewal solutions are at the heart of working out how to do that. And once we do that, right? Once we do that, if we can do that well, we can go back to the stuff that we were always doing, that we like doing, you know? Trying to get a stint on maths, or maybe some other games that we like playing. Thanks very much.